Sark made an important hire after wide receivers coach Andre Coleman was let go. Sark secured a fast-rising wide receiver coach on his way to becoming a head coach. We need youthful energy for the kids to relate to. We need recruiting ability. We need positional development. And we get that and so much more with the hire of Brennan Marion, the creator of the GoGo offense. Shout out to Inside Texas for being all over the Marion hire and giving us more than enough hints that he was headed our way. Make sure to sign up at Inside Texas today for top-notch coverage on recruiting, coaching hires, and the overall state of the program. And as always, don't forget to pick up your new hat for the new season from Last Stand Hats. Use promo code TexasHomer, all caps, for 10% off your purchase at laststandhats.com. This hire is much more than just a position coach. Who is Brennan Marion, and what can he do for our team, and potentially college football as a whole? Without further ado, let's get into it. Brennan Marion is a young coach at 34, but he's managed to pack a lot of lessons into a short time. Brennan came up in a rough environment throughout the Pittsburgh area. In his sophomore year of high school, his cousin was shot. In his junior year, his grandmother passed away, and the loss had tremendous effects on the young Marion, becoming academically ineligible during this period. His senior year, he was able to find some stability and produce, but Marion had one scholarship to Temple, and it wasn't even a full ride. He decided to attend junior college across the country in California. At Foothill College, Marion struggled adjusting to the move across the country. He was living in a one-bedroom apartment with 8 other guys, and he decided to leave and head to another JUCO by the name of De Anza College outside of San Francisco. The head coach liked Marion and wanted to build the team around him, but the team's record was lousy. When Marion arrived, the head coach took another job, and a JUCO team without a coach is in a bad situation. The team was losing players and struggling to field a roster. Marion got on the phone and started recruiting players he knew that weren't getting playing time at other schools, or guys that had stopped playing football altogether. And he held his own practices and workouts, providing structure and discipline to a rudderless program. This was his first true taste of coaching and recruiting. And due to no head coach, Marion and several of his teammates were not provided housing. Marion and his out-of-state teammates were now homeless. Marion, in an interview with the Pittsburgh Courier, stated, "There were a few of us guys from out of state. We would live in the locker room at De Anza and sleep at teammates' houses. Once we couldn't find anywhere else to stay, I decided we'll stay in the press box. We slept outside a few times. We rode the bus at night. We stayed in motels." Marion had to steal from grocery stores to eat and sleep in teammates' cars in random church parking lots. But the field was his church, his refuge. And Brennan was balling out, leading all the major receiving categories in JUCO. He was named an All-American and he made the Dean's List. His ability to stay focused through the pain led to the opportunity he needed. He was offered a scholarship to the University of Tulsa. In his junior year at Tulsa, Marion set an FBS record in yards per reception. He finished the season with 39 receptions for 1,200 yards and 11 touchdowns, landing the Conference USA Newcomer of the Year award. And his head coach was Gus Malzahn, known for his up-tempo, creative run-pass balance. They married old-school run-heavy formations like the wing T while spreading out receivers as deep threats. They had a 5,000-yard passer, 3 1,000-yard receivers, and a 1,000-yard rusher all in one single season. And this would go on to have big effects on Marion's offensive philosophy. In his senior year, he went for 1,100 yards on 43 receptions, earning first-team All-Conference USA honors. His receivers coach was Mike Norvell, currently the Florida State head coach. NFL scouts were taking notice, and Brennan had a second to third round NFL projection. But on the last play of the conference championship game, Marion tore his ACL. And due to the injury, Marion was invited to the NFL Combine, but he wasn't able to participate, and he later went undrafted. Brennan had met some Miami coaches previously, and he made the call himself. The Miami Dolphins then signed him as a free agent. Marion was undeterred and wanted to prove himself in the league, but disaster struck once again as Marion re-tore his ACL in the Dolphins training camp. He was placed on injured reserve in August of 2009 and had to sit at home rehabbing throughout the season. Marion had built his identity and worth around being a football player, and he had to search to find out who he was away from putting up numbers on the field. He was depressed. Those weekly NFL checks provided a lot of cash, but he wasn't living responsibly and he was partying too much. But if we had learned anything about Marion, he doesn't tend to give up. A door was closed, but Brennan was searching for that open window. While still under NFL contract, he became the offensive coordinator at a California high school for a year, using some concepts from his Tulsa offense. Marion worked with the quarterbacks and wide receivers as well as calling plays. Brennan was released by the Miami Dolphins at the end of the season, and now he was trying to get a spot on another roster, right as the NFL strike and subsequent lockout was taking place. He went to the Canadian Football League and tore his ACL for a third time in the first week of practice. As he was visiting the doctor for his knee, the Dallas Cowboys called to say he had a workout next week. Of course, Marion wouldn't be able to go, officially ending his NFL career before it could ever get started. But that year as a coach made an impression on Marion, and Marion said, "The biggest thing that got me to love coaching is I had kids from Oakland, Richmond, San Francisco, rough backgrounds, and I thought my life story was rough, but a lot of these kids had it worse." And he credits those kids with healing him. "They got my life together as far as drinking, partying, the depression of being hurt, thinking I'm going to play in the league." Brennan had finally discovered a renewed purpose and passion, but this time it would be from the sideline. At only 25 years old, Marion became the head coach at St. Patrick St. Vincent High School in California. The team had a 1-9 record the year before his arrival and also was dealing with a hazing scandal. Coaches wouldn't take the job, it came with too much risk. But Marion seized the opportunity. His first meeting as head coach, Marion only had 7 players in the meeting room. He went to work and got that number to 45, being able to field a JV and a varsity squad. And with a program on the brink of being dissolved, Marion led the team to the playoffs in his first year. Marion didn't want to tell the kids they simply weren't good enough, even though that was likely true. He had to develop an offense that could create advantages against traditionally bigger, faster, stronger, and more stable programs. The spread existed at the time as a giant slayer, designed to bypass the lines of scrimmage against bigger, more physical teams. This was useful, but Marion never wanted to sacrifice the run for the pass, and he was dogged in building his culture. Marion once fired his own first cousin, only a year apart in age, from his coaching staff because he wasn't living up to the standard. And his cousin was living with him at the time, and probably made for some awkward conversations at the dinner table. The high school football world had done its job in showing Marion what he wanted to do with life after football, but he had his eyes set on a higher target. Brennan's biggest mantra you'll hear him say over and over again is, "How you play without the ball determines how much you love your teammates." Everyone puts in full effort when the ball is coming their way, but can you give full effort as a receiver when your job is to run off the safety, creating room for another receiver to make the catch? Can you give full effort as a running back, carrying out the run fake to trick the linebackers? Everything in football is connected. It's a choreographed dance in which 11 players have to do their job for success to occur. If you see a deep 40-yard pass, the center had to snap the ball, the QB had to catch the snap. At least 5 players have to win their blocks. The wide receiver has to win their matchup. The quarterback then has to make the read and throw the ball, just for a single catch to occur. If any of these steps are skipped, then the play breaks. Brennan Marion helps guys see the full picture and play for each other even when they aren't the focus of the play. How you play without the ball determines how much you love your teammates is the best way to sum up his cultural cornerstone of the GoGo offense. And now Marion gets the opportunity to come home to Pennsylvania, taking over a 0-10 team. He became the youngest head coach in Pennsylvania history to lead a team in the largest division. He coached the team to their first winning season in 20 years, and he was taking over awful programs lacking the talent to compete and teaching them how to play for each other. This stop is where Marion really became his own coach. In previous gigs, he was using concepts and lessons previous coaches had taught to him, but now he was beginning to create his own offense, marrying ideas from many different football schools of thought. He was able to build the roster once again from 40 to 120 players. He raised $1 million for gear, a new field, and a new stadium. The team went on to win a conference championship, and Marion won Coach of the Year, all within a single season. Brennan then got his shot to coach in college, and he went to Arizona State as an offensive quality control assistant, with his connection to Mike Norvell and Todd Graham, who had been his coaches at Tulsa. And it was tough for Marion to go from head coach to a low-rung college assistant, but he kept his ego in check and he kept grinding. He promoted quickly, a theme you'll see often with Marion. His next stop was Oklahoma Baptist as a running backs coach, and finally got to coach a position at the college level. Once again, Marion was able to climb the ranks. Earlier on, Marion had met a head coach by the name of Mike London, and London previously admired Marion's work as a Pennsylvania head coach in the high school ranks, and he told him to keep in touch because he would find an opportunity for him. Coach London was later hired as the head coach of Howard University in 2017, and he gave Marion a call. He said, "You ready to run that offense you were running at the high school level?" Marion became the offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach at Howard University. Marion once again was at an underperforming program, lacking the elite talent to compete in a traditional offense. He had full control of the offense and could finally utilize his scheme at the college level. This scheme gave the downtrodden Howard a chance to win. Howard is the birthplace of the GoGo offense as we know it today. The name GoGo has significance. Howard is in Washington, D.C., where the wide genre of go-go music originated. And I don't know the true importance of this music scene, but my friend Steven from Fanatic Perspective grew up in D.C. and he attended Howard, so I figured I'd let him tell us. Steve, what does go-go music mean to the culture of D.C., and how does it relate to Marion's offensive style?
Man, I never thought in a million years I'd be on here talking go-go and football, but here we are. When you think of go-go music, it's interaction. It's complete live interaction. It can go across any genre. I've had go-go albums and CDs, whether it's gospel, whether it's funk, whether it's hip-hop related. It's not tied to one interaction, but the essence of bass and percussion and live callback and direct feedback in their live settings, it's incredible. And in relationship to Brennan Marion, I think it's unique because when he came to Howard, they were playing go-go music during practice. You can't stop moving. You're constantly in motion and moving. And I think that directly correlates to his philosophy as a coach, right? In terms of playing for one another, motion, moving without the football. What are you doing? Being interactive with your teammates. And so it was appropriate that name was GoGo. For those who are not familiar with go-go artists and whatnot, one of our most famous artists from DC is Wale. And so Wale incorporates a lot of those go-go tenets into his music as a hip-hop artist, and that just was relationship to the culture and young folks in general.
Marion and Howard's new offense were set to open the 2017 season against FBS UNLV. Howard is an FCS school, and they were 2-19 over the previous two seasons. Howard was a 45-point underdog, considered to be a tune-up game for UNLV. The betting lines never accounted for what Marion was about to bring to the table, the go-go offense. So, what is it? The go-go offense is designed as a triple option run game, and it's old school, but there is a reason this run-heavy offense has stood the test of time. Its roots began in the 1940s and was popularized most in the 1960s, including the wishbone offense variation ran by Darrell K. Royal during his success at Texas. The triple option is a pain in the ass for defensive coordinators because if all the blocks and reads are correct, it's theoretically impossible to guard. If the first read isn't there, go to the second handoff. If that's not there, go to the third run. And there's a reason the triple option and its principles are still seen today in college football, including at Georgia Tech, where newly hired Texas running back coach Tashard Choice led the run game. But Marion continued to innovate. He never wanted to sacrifice the run for the pass, but he also didn't want to sacrifice deep shot, high-flying passing touchdowns either. Is there a way to marry both of these ideas? His most notable look is two running backs lined up on the same side of the formation, both to the right or the left of the quarterback. And when people speak on the go-go offense, this is what you'll most likely see. So why do this? Defensive coordinators are comfortable with balanced looks. It allows them to sit back in zone coverage and effectively guard both halves of the field with ample numbers on both sides. Unbalanced formations are harder to defend in zone and will force teams into more man looks or match cover 3. This allows the offense to force one-on-one matchups or rub routes with the receivers that knock defenders off their man, freeing up at least one receiver if not more. By providing an unbalanced run look, you actually open up your wide receivers to one-on-one matchups in the pass game. This allows quarterbacks to get more honest looks from the defense, allowing the quarterback to know where to go with the ball before the ball is even snapped. Marion found a way to give an advantage to his running backs, wide receivers, and quarterbacks all with one look. It's actually 3 birds with 1 stone. As we discussed, the most notable look is the 2 backs aligned to the left or the right of the quarterback, but its strength actually lies in its versatility. They can adjust to 2 split backs, but they can even motion a back to the line behind the tackle and use them like an H-back. You can motion out the running backs to the flats to catch passes. One running back can lead block for the other on speed options, and you can utilize traditional triple option runs from this alignment as well. It's a simple formation that can morph into anything post-snap. And due to its strange appearance and ability to run a variety of plays from this look, it's not fun to defend and creates confusion for opposing defenders that have never faced these type of looks. And on top of that, they run an absurd amount of plays, and Marion refers to it as creating a 5th quarter. Those big, more talented players on the opposing lines get exhausted trying to defend the GoGo, adding another edge to Marion's offense. And it's simple. If the defense overloads the strong side, then you run to the weak side. If they overload the weak side, then we run to the strong side. If safeties come down into the box to stop the run, Marion can throw the ball over their head to receivers downfield one-on-one. If the safeties sit back and guard the pass, you run it right up the gut. But it's not just the running backs that are unbalanced in the formation. Marion loves to overload one side with receivers or tight ends as well. You'll see 4 to 5 players on a single side of a formation. It looks weird to fans and looks even weirder to traditional defensive coordinators trapped in their outdated systems. The offense is designed with built-in answers to all the coverages that could be thrown at them, and the formations and alignments dictate which coverages are ran by the defense in the first place. It's very hard to be correct against the GoGo offense, and that's where Marion's offense shines. Back to Howard. Game 1 as offensive coordinator, Marion debuted his offense. Shockingly, Howard went on to win the game, scoring 43 points, sealing the biggest point spread upset in college football history. Marion states the GoGo offense at its core is a 2-back power run vertical shot offense, always in 2-minute drill trying to run over 90 plays a game. It doesn't require elite talent. All you need is 1 vertical threat, 2 running backs, and a quarterback that can effectively distribute the ball. And the QB doesn't have to be some elite athletic runner either. In 2020, after proving his offense at the college level at Howard, and then later at Vincent and Mary, Marion's former coach Todd Graham became the head coach at Hawaii. Marion wanted an opportunity to coach at the FBS level. Marion signed on for 1 year as the wide receivers coach, finally at the level he had aspired to reach for years. In 2021, Marion got the opportunity to come home to Pennsylvania. He became the wide receivers coach at Pitt, and Pitt was 7th in the nation for receiving yards per game. Marion coached the sophomore Jordan Addison to a Biletnikoff Award for being the best receiver in the nation. But it's not some small-time scheme anymore. The GoGo is being used throughout the sport at the college and NFL levels. Lincoln Riley utilized a GoGo package at OU. Cliff Kingsbury is using the scheme with the Cardinals, and Bill Belichick now employs this look with the Patriots. At the same time, Steve Sarkisian made the switch from Andre Coleman. He needed a proven developer and recruiter with youthful energy that the kids can relate to. Sarkisian wasted no time in bringing in Brennan Marion as wide receivers coach and offensive pass game coordinator, and I think it's a great fit, and here's why. Sarkisian also believes deeply in the run as his base. His offense marries deep passing with power and zone runs. The strongest room on the team is our running back room, making it easy to run these 2-back sets. And we lost our 2 starting tight ends in Cade Brewer and Jared Wiley, but you can utilize 2 running backs to do a lot of the same lead blocking or even receiving jobs. The new Texas running back coach, Tashard Choice, came from coaching the triple option at Georgia Tech, meaning Choice will have a great understanding of what Marion likes to do in the run game. Sarkisian is a big dog in the offensive world, but that doesn't mean you aren't always looking for new ways to improve. These 2 minds together could marry these philosophies to maximize our running back room and leverage our available talent. Ultimately, it's Steve Sarkisian's offense, and we know it's proven at the highest level. But Marion could infuse some new GoGo offense ideas as well. When you face Texas, you are now matching up against 2 offensive innovators seeking out every edge possible. So, Now for the big question. Will Marion be at Texas for a long time? I hope not. That's a motivated, incredibly capable young man with the required self-belief to do great things. He's innovative, but he doesn't spit in the face of tradition. The triple option has stood the test of time, and that's why Marion has deep respect for their running philosophy. He added new formations and alignments paired with downfield passing attacks to provide big plays and quick scores. The older and younger fans alike will appreciate this scheme because it's a love letter to all the innovative schemes that came before it, all while pushing it to its next evolution. From the pits of awful high school teams to the top of the NFL, Marion's scheme has risen throughout the world of college football. I want to see him as offensive coordinator of a big name and shortly after head coach, wherever that may be. It's bigger than the game. Black kids need to know they can be more than players and position coaches. They can run the whole damn thing. And I think Marion will be the next name to show them it's possible. Thanks for hanging out. Watch more of my videos here. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share if you want to support quality Texas content. As always, hook 'em.